Welcome to the Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. Well, if there's one word to describe Friday and practically the whole week, it was wild. It was absolutely wild. On Friday, we saw the NASDAQ futures running anywhere between 100 to 200 points in either direction. Same thing with the S&Ps running anywhere from 10 to 20, 30, 40, 50 points at a clip. Now, on Friday, I saw early in the morning, we had the buy disconnect on the S&P futures and NASDAQ futures. We were pushing down to new lows, and I said, I'm a buyer here. These MACDs on the 30 and 60-minute time frame on the futures markets were not confirming the low. And then around 11:10, I started seeing the NASDAQ go positive, and the NASDAQ just shot straight up. Now, again, the news, or the so-called rumor of the news of a Fed rate cut in December, sparked an enormous rally. The NASDAQ futures were trading below the 23,950 and ricocheted up to 24,300 and pushed all the way up to 24,600 and then dropped at the end of the day. And then probably around the 3 o'clock, 3:30 time period, there was news about NVIDIA again being able to sell chips to China, but again, the markets rallied excessively, and then they faded towards the end of the day. So what we saw here was the big buy reversals on the spiders on the 30-minute time frame and the Qs right around the 1:30 time period. And then we got about the 1 o'clock time period. Then we got this really deep pullback on the 15s. And then S&P futures, I got to tell you, they ran from the 657, they ran about 70 points. NASDAQ, I'm just staring at the NASDAQ, went from 24,250 to 24,600, 350 points. So again, it was a great pattern. The oversold condition on the 15 into the positive MACD, and then the 60-minute time frames reversed to buy. And I'll show you these patterns. It was just remarkable. You can see here, this is when the spiders. Well, let's look at the S&Ps first. Early, looking at the 30 and the 60-minute time frames here. The 30 and the 60s, you can see pushing down to the new lows here. 11 o'clock right here on the 20 right here. You can see at 11 o'clock when you were pushing down to new lows here during the U.S. session, the MACDs cannot confirm the low on the 60 and on the 30-minute. That's why I kept on saying, look to buy, just buy them. I would be looking to buy them here. The market's going to turn up. You got nothing but buy divergences here on the new low. And then the 60-minute time frame on this big spike up here, which was around 12 o'clock, 11:30, 12 o'clock is when there was rumors that the Fed's going to potentially cut interest rates in the December meeting here. S&Ps went from 6,541 all the way up. Look at this, 130 points higher. NASDAQ ran about 350. And then you got the big buy reversals here on the 30-minute time frame. And then you can see the 30-minute reverse to buy right here. Okay, the 30-minute reverse to buy right here. And then the 15s got deeply oversold. Look at this beautiful bull flag. Spiders ran 856.88. You can see the rally here of about 60 points on the spiders, which were about 6 points on the S&P futures. So we saw this enormous rally here, and now everything seemed to go, right? So when you got these big buy reversals here on the 15-minute time frame, there was a chance, 85% chance that the lows were in for the day. But then when the 30 minutes reversed to buy on the around 12 o'clock on the S&P, on the spiders, around 1:30 on the QQQs, and then the Russell really was the one around 1:30, 1 o'clock. The Russell reversed to buy on the 30 and then the 60, and then you look to buy the pullbacks on the 15-minute time frame. Really great patterns here. You can see the Russell, the IWMs here. You can see the 30s reversed to buy here, right here. And I said at 11:30, so the Russell really led the charge. The 11:30 reverse pie to buy, and then look at in the 60. Look at this beautiful bull flag, oversold, positive MACD. oversold. Look at this, into a positive MACD on the 30 and on the 60-minute time frame. The 60 reverses to buy right here at 12:30, and then what do you get this pullback? This is an absolute Picasso, 130. And I actually said when we were getting this pullback on the IWMs, I said the Russell is going to reverse the market to the upside. The Russell was up over 3%. So somebody knows something. Now, later on, okay, they're talking now that there's potentially no rate cut coming in December. But regardless of the fact that 11:10, the S&Ps, the Nasdaq, and the Russell and the Dow exploded upward, and then around 2:30, President Trump announced maybe allowing Nvidia to sell more chips to China. So that actually pushed the S&Ps up to new highs. Nasdaq to 25,600, S&Ps to 6677 before everything decided to sell off towards the end of the day. So with that being said, I have to tell you that it was a great day in trading. The patterns were there early on the buy divergences, on the S&P, on the push down, on the 30 and 60. And once these time frames reversed to buy, we knew exactly what to do. So again, price leads, indicators lag, but the indicators told me exactly what to do. Look at this beautiful pattern that I just showed you here on the IWMs. This beautiful bull flag here, 235.01. The Russell ran over 2. So that's a monster move. First pullback when the MACDs are crossing up from below the pivot on the 15, the 30, and the 60. You wait patiently for the oversold condition on the 15 into the positive MACD, up, and away. Okay, so not really much to show you because everything was pretty much predicated on when those underlying ETFs reversed to buy, and we saw everything reverse at that point. When the S&Ps go, well, you're going to see every stock in the board here, Meta, Nvidia, Apple, everything launched with it. So Broadcom. So everything is going to reverse with it, with that being said. Okay, when I get back, I will tell you what I expect for Monday. Okay, so coming into the day right now, we see Bitcoin is up about 2,600 points right now, off the lows around the 82,000. Bitcoin deeply oversold. We have the spiders, the Qs, the diamonds, and the Russell, all bullish on the 15, the 30, and the 60-minute time frame. So for Monday, even though it's a shortened week, I still expect a lot of volatility. I'm expecting a gap up here. Bitcoin being up about 2,600. Now, one thing about Bitcoin, I will tell you that somebody posted that Bitcoin normally tops out first and the market follows right after. So we saw this monstrous drop from 126,000 to 82,000 on Bitcoin. That's a drop of 46,000 points, 44,000 points, excuse me. So Bitcoin, I have to tell you, I think there's something here, and I saw the way the correlation worked. We're anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks away from a top out here on the market. You can see that we're off about 200 and about 300 points off the high in the S&P. I still think those gaps will get filled. I still think that those gaps get filled in 2026 and give us another opportunity for buys for the long term. But not here. I wouldn't still buy them up here with your money. So for tomorrow, I'm expecting a push down. If we do get a push down, I don't think so. But if we do gap up, I would wait for any oversold conditions on the 30-minute time frames. Right now, we're getting deeply oversold here on the 15s. Well, the 15s went out oversold, so I'm expecting a gap up tomorrow on the opening, and then we'll look to see if we get some extreme overbought conditions. Then I would, on the 30 and 60-minute time frames, I probably would look to short them because the MACDs are not going to confirm the highs on the 60, and then wait for a deeper oversold condition on the 30 and the 60-minute time frames. All right. When I get back, I need to tell you how important it is to adjust the markets and trade the markets when there is news. So we can't really control news, right? On Thursday we saw The markets were, NASDAQ was up 600, S&Ps were up 100, and what happened? The NASDAQ dropped 1,400 off the highs. Why? Because somebody said that NVIDIA pretty much has more inventory than stated, and demand is slow. NVIDIA got absolutely kabooshed, down about 12 or 13 points. The NASDAQ dropped about 1,400 off the highs. S&Ps dropped about 100 and something points off the high. So, and then what happens on Friday? There's a circulation of potentially at around 11:10 that the Fed's going to cut interest rates in December. And then later on, 2 hours later, there's potential rumor or news that President Trump is going to allow NVIDIA to sell chips again in China. So you got to adjust here with and news can come out of left field, which had happened on Thursday and it happened twice on Friday. But that's why you have to have your stops in place. It's important to trade the market, singles and doubles, but also have your stops in place, and that's what's really about. Okay, really, news can affect the markets up and or down, and we don't know if the news is real or if it's just a rumor at the time. But when you see the S&Ps and the NASDAQ futures shoot up, what I call a pencil up, well, guess what? You just got to wait for pullbacks, and you got to wait until they exhaust themselves to start looking for shorts. But again, news can affect the markets anyway during the market hours, and you just got to be ready for it. That's why stops are in place, and that's really what I need to explain to you here tonight. All right. With that being said, thank you for joining me tonight on The Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. Please hit the subscribe button. Please leave a comment. If you'd like to join my community of traders from all around the world, please go to my website, sktrading.live. Also, if you like to follow me on social media, at official Stephen Kalayjian on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Also, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week, I will be streaming from 8 to 10 on my SK Trading YouTube, also on my Funded Futures YouTube from 8 to 10, the Asia session from 8 o'clock to 10 p.m. It's great. We have great times. There are a lot of great patterns during that time period, a lot of great trade ideas in gold, S&P, and NASDAQ futures, sometimes oil, depends. But I'd love to see you there. It's absolutely free. With that being said, hope you all had a great weekend. And if you need to reach out to me or text me, my cell phone number is 914-500-7484. Thank you so much for joining me on The Bull, the Bear, and the Ugly. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow, Monday. Have a great night, everybody. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.